Well, this is Blaze, Unified Fathers for Life, and I'm sitting here. What room are we sitting in? Well, first of all, I'm sitting with the Executive Director, Charmaine Jefferson.
Yes. Hi, how are you, Blaze?
And we're here at the, tell them a little bit where we are first, before we tell them what room we're in.
Well, you're at the California African American Museum, and you are in our African American Journey West exhibition. It's the permanent exhibition of items out of our collection, the theme of which is this notion of the African Americans having come across the sea, some very few voluntarily, etc. And it's done through art and real artifacts. But today, we took out a few items, created a special space so that you could have some of the items that you see behind me and the artist, Artis Lane, with us to talk about the work she did with Rosa Parks.
You know, I filmed the majority of that, and I was wondering if you could tell us a little more, how did you make a connection like that?
Well, Artis Lane is in our collection. Yes, she is in our collection, and first off, your listeners viewers should know that she is such an gracious and extraordinarily generous woman, and a magnificent artist, both as a painter, a sculptor, etc. And her work is in our collection. We have purchased a work from her. She recently came to us and asked us if we wanted to put up a work of hers on loan, which we are doing now. Her Emerging Man. We're in the process of trying to see if we can come up with a series that is 6 pieces on the Emerging Man, and if we can do it, it will be awesome. And we need people to break their piggy banks and help us do this one.
See, now, you know what, I was just thinking, first of all, I've never been to a museum where I was so thoroughly entertained on such a diverse level. I mean, I'm trying to film and I'm all over the place.
Thank you.
Starting outside where you have all the, this is, first of all, tell them what this is called.
This is our In the Spirit of Kwanzaa Day for our Target Sundays at CAAM. So every first Sunday of the month, we do a specially themed program. This is our last one for this year. And so, of course, we wanted people to really get into the principles of Kwanzaa. And at the same time, we were already planning on honoring Rosa Parks before she passed. And so, of course, when she passed, you know, you're so stunned by it and you almost think you shouldn't do it. And then we thought, oh, no, how could we not? And, of course, a lot of people are paying tribute to her. But we had the special honor of 2 things: a relationship with Artis Lane. And so when you look at the extraordinary bust of Rosa Parks that she was commissioned to do, the Congressional Medal of Honor, which I believe is over my... over there.
These works are here and going to remain here for a while, or what?
We brought them and we rearranged the gallery just a little bit so people could be able to see the work that Rosa Parks
At this point, you're going to hold the mic.
Okay.
You're going to turn the camera, you're going to keep talking.
Give you all of the details, but I will tell you follow. The Congressional Medal of Honor was commissioned by President Bill Clinton of Artis Lane to do because they presented Rosa Parks with a Congressional Medal of Honor. And then there is a work behind me that is a piece that Artis Lane had created to depict this notion of Rosa Parks sort of rising and emerging through life and her relationship, frankly, to the Statue of Liberty and that sense of freedom. And then you have on the other side of me a work that Artis Lane created called The Beginning. And yes, on the bus. And it is signed by Rosa Parks and Artis Lane. It's in our collection, and yes, actually people, if they purchase it, proceeds go to help support the Rosa Parks Institute. And then we have, farther to my right, a maquette of the bust that Artis Lane created that is in the Smithsonian and in the library in Alabama.
Now some trick photography on back. Well, you know, this is really fantastic, and, you know, since I've been doing this, I've studied a little more about museums than ever before, and I discovered that a lot of museums have a particular intent, and I wanted to get into some of the intent of you, and I discovered a place, I don't want to misquote it, where it says something like, prior to the passage, the crossover passage, and we began this African-American thing, our tribalism was always about nature, always about family, and so on, so on, so on, and we might be reminded by some of the artwork here. Is that correct, or?
Well, what we've done here is, our mission is the art and history and culture of African Americans, and we research, preserve, we collect, we interpret those variations. If you think about who we are, that means it's everything. It could be music, it could be history, it could be civil rights, it could be legal, it could be science. But what we wanted to do in our permanent gallery that we're sitting in is find a way to not only display some of the items that we have, because we've got about 3,500, so they're clearly not all on display, but to do so in a way that was both artifacts from Africa as well as interpretation of our experience. So if you look around, if you look around the room, you've got a Bill Pajot showing that sort of New Orleans spirit in the funeral marches. You've got we've got some work from Ken Reinhardt, who was an actor who was always being cast in any part other than black. We've got Ella Fitzgerald, Mayor Tom Bradley.
Ella Fitzgerald gown.
Yes.
Unbelievable gown she had.
Yeah, well, right over my shoulder, we've got Bill Spiller, who was one of the first to play in the PGA, a black man.
Put a picture on him. Hold on, because he looked just like Michael Jordan.
Doesn't he?
I mean, when I came in here, let me just.
You're not the only one.
I said, because I figured Michael Jordan was playing golf. Let me get closer for our viewers. I said, this has got to be Michael Jordan. What's his name?
Bill Spiller. His name was William, and they called him Bill Spiller, and he was one of the first to break the Jim Crow problems in playing golf. And he was a great golf player. Well, his family made donations to us. So when you think about migrating and moving around,
Wait, let's stick on that. So people's who, let's say family who inherit these types of pieces oftentimes will donate them to museums. How does that work?
yes, you can make.
I mean, if I got something in my attic from my grandfather who happened to be somebody, probably be better for me to donate it and put it on display.
Absolutely. I mean, if you know, museums do one of two things. They acquire work because they buy it, or someone donates it to them. The larger institutions have acquisition funds. We rarely have acquisition funds, so we really are dependent upon people wanting to make donations to us. And because we're an institution that's art history and culture, and it's art and artifacts, etc., it means if you've got a 200-year-old Bible that's been handed down through the generations, part of what we're here to do is to tell the stories of our people. If you have, my goodness, that no one ever saw Charles White work, you might want to donate it to us, and then they
donate it or put it on display for a couple of years.
Exactly. And we borrow from people for exhibitions because we curate our own and we borrow exhibitions from other institutions. So the real point is to say that even if you don't have financial resources to give to a museum like ours, you may very well have something that represents the art and history and culture of African Americans that we ought to consider.
And when people are a member of this museum, technically they are a member of the black race.
They are, and it doesn't matter who they are, because we are not just an institution that's only for African Americans. It's an institution that's
the Latin one.
From a African American perspective that we present so many things.
Okay.
Yes.
And the other thing I want to touch upon, I mentioned to you earlier, one or two people were saying they were unaware of the programs you have for children. Every time I've come here, I've seen families and children. So maybe we could talk a little to the public about what opportunities there are for the children to come and get involved and get exposure in the lectures and literature and painting and things like that you do here.
Well, we do workshops all the time, and we would highly suggest that people check our website. Because if you do, then you can see some of the workshops we're doing, and they may be centered around making your own. We've got an exhibition going up, a Milton Bowen's exhibition. It's spoken word, and it's real colorful, and it's very expressive. Well, we want kids to learn to do that, so we'll teach them and let them explore that in workshops. Our Target Sunday program, we've got creative workshops out there right now that kids can participate in.
I spoke to the lady with the quilts and the gentleman doing the mask.
Yeah.
People. So for me, for some reason, I had a misconception of what this building represented years ago. Maybe it was drab years ago, because my experience was drab years ago. But now that I've come, it's so village-like. And I want to know, what is your intention for the next year?
That is our vision. This is a place that we want people to feel empowered that it belongs to them. Mm-hmm. Because we represent so many divergent points of view, voices, etc., We're going to put work on the wall. We're going to put artwork on the wall. But if we only do that, then we haven't totally told our story. So I got to bring it to life. I need you to come back. I want you to come back. And I want you to tell other people. So for us, the dream is about drumbeat. It's about people somehow or another feeling this place personally.
Let's give that website because it was so people friendly.
Oh, thank you. It's www.caamuseum.org.